Welcome to GHC Coffee Break. Go get your coffee. Joining me is Julie Smith from Psychotherapy.
My college offers classes that meet my educational and career goals,
with opportunities outside the classroom,
where the faculty know me by name.
My college can prepare me for my career.
I can earn an associate's degree and transfer credits toward my bachelor's.
My college is a state college within the university system of Georgia.
My college is affordable.
It's close to home.
My college has online opportunities.
It's where excellence begins.
We are
GHC, Georgia Highlands College.
Hello and welcome to GHC Coffee Break. Joining me today is Julie Smith from Psychotherapy. The last time Julie came, I was so excited about biking. I'm just starting to learn to bike and ride a little bit more. And I was so excited, and I was talking about trails, and we just didn't really have time to go into that part. So I invited her back. Julie, thank you for coming and being willing to do another show with me.
Absolutely.
So soon.
I enjoyed it. Thank you, Susan. That was great. We did. We talked a lot about bikes, how to pick the right bike for you, a little bit about bike safety, rules that motorists and cyclists should follow. And so we did. We talked a little bit about riding on the road. But then trails also offer a great alternative. Trails serve as recreation points, transportation, and also quality of life, and have so many economic benefits as well. So I also want to mention that I'm president of our trail advocacy group that's here in Roman Floyd County. It's called TREAD, and that stands for Trails for Recreation and Economic Development.
Oh, okay.
So it was very intentional, that putting together that acronym for TREAD. And so what we do is we serve to enhance and educate people about the trails that we have here, the Heritage Trail System. But also what our ultimate goal is to build more trails in Roman Floyd County, and then to ultimately connect to the Silver Comet Trail, which is sort of the crown jewel of all trails.
Right. Oh, man. And that's one of the things that was very impressive to me, that Floyd County had the Heritage Trail. I did get to go on a little bit of it the day I bought my bike. We just said, hey, let's go. And we went on a little ride. We actually parked over by the library.
Yes, at that trailhead, and I think you rode to the Braves Stadium.
Actually, we went the other way.
Oh, good.
We couldn't decide, and we just went the other way. And I said, I wish we'd come back and go towards the Braves Stadium.
Right.
And I'm not sure where I know you have a map.
I do have a map, and unlike the Beltline, which is the perimeter trail that they're building in Atlanta that's become so popular, and unlike the Carrollton Greenbelt, which is 16 miles of continuous looping trail, our trails here sort of finger out. So the ground zero is kind of the town green, right by the Forum and the parking deck where the fountains are downtown.
Oh, okay. Yes, we rode that way.
Okay.
That was beautiful.
And then they sort of go, you can go to South Broad, Kingfisher Trail, you can go out to the Brave Stadium, you can go to sort of to the levee. So they are a little complex. So they all kind of fan out from that town green area. So, what I tell people is just get on your bike and sort of ride. And what the planning department is trying to do, and what TREAD is trying to do, is make those trails have better signage.
Okay.
So that's a lot of it, and directional signage makes a big difference with people feeling comfortable where you're riding or walking. So we're working on getting that done.
Okay. Yeah, we went, the day we rode the Heritage, we went by the fountains and went down that way, and there was a pretty steep hill I remember going up.
Right.
Yeah, that was, I think I actually had to get off and walk the rest of the way up because it was a pretty big hill.
And there's some loop arounds. One of the prettier points to me is what we call the Kingfisher Trail, and that was just opened a few years ago. And so you cross the South Broad Bridge and you loop under that, and that the trail takes you to the Health Department, East 12th Street.
Okay.
But you can also cross the Bob Moore Bridge, which is an old railroad bridge. It's beautiful. So
I think, is that the one where there's locks on?
Well, that's the Robert Redden Footbridge. That's the old railroad bridge that was a swinging bridge, actually.
Okay. What's the locks on there for?
Locks of love.
Okay.
So people in love put their lock on the bridge to signify
Oh.
I don't know. That's just what the trend has been lately. So.
Okay, because when we rode by, I said, I've got to ask somebody what the
Yes.
locks are. Okay, well,
Yes.
thank you. A little off topic,
Maybe
but
that's better than graffiti.
yeah, oh yeah.
So I think.
But I was just curious.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So getting back to trails.
Yes.
But yeah, we went that way.
Okay. So that the Robert Redden Footbridge, actually a little trivia fact, that was the first rail trail in Georgia. So that was 1976. So that was converted from the railroad to a trail. So that was kind of exciting. So Rome city leaders have always thought about trails. Jim Dixon, past city manager back in the 80s, took that low-lying property in the floodplain by Ridge Ferry Park, and the city turned those into trails. And so the city has always been forward-thinking, thinking about trails, because you go to lots of communities that don't have trails and you think they are missing out. So trails add to a quality of life. We can talk about economic development. Our trails, they do lead to downtown Rome, but when you look at trails like the Silver Comet Trail or the Virginia Creeper Trail in Virginia, and the New Augusta Rail Trail in North Carolina, all of these trails serve as huge economic drivers for those communities. We did a survey a couple years ago on the Silver Comet, and $50 a day is what users on the Silver Comet Trail spend in those communities. And as you know, the Silver Comet starts in Smyrna and runs all the way out to the state line in Alabama, and then hooks up to the Chief Ladiga Trail, which is 33 miles just shy of Anniston, Alabama. So 2 million visitors per year, it's estimated, on the Silver Comet Trail. $47 million in economic impact for those three counties, for Cobb, Paulding, and Polk County.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. And when people really look at those numbers, you can kind of change your mindset of trails add such a value to communities. It's such a no-brainer. And so people who are against trails, a lot of times they're against trails coming through their property, and I can understand that. I understand owners' rights, but also you have a road that goes in front of your community.
Right.
People are going in front of your house every
Every day.
And so trails do not breed crime. People do not come and steal your televisions. People do not come and mess with your farm equipment or your farms. People want trails as those recreation amenities. You spend time as a family, you get exercise, you're not on the road, you're in a safe environment, and so it just makes sense. And so when you look at the numbers, $47 million.
Wow.
We're working on a project now to connect Cave Spring to the Cedartown trailhead of the Silver Comet Trail. It's 11 miles. Cave Spring, of all communities, needs that economic shot in the arm. Right now, there's a tour group out of Marietta, and they come and stay in Rollator Park in Cave Spring, and they book the inn and stay there, and they drive people in a van to the closest trailhead for the Silver Comet, which is Cedartown.
Okay.
She sells those tours all day long and stays booked up. But if there was a direct connection on a trail, think of what that could do for Cave Spring.
That would be amazing.
It's amazing.
Well, see, and I live in Bremen, and our school system, I don't know, I'm not sure we're not the only one, but we do not have school buses. We're city schools,
right?
No buses. If we would, you remember when that lottery was like billions of dollars? If we would have won that, Jeff said, first thing we would have done is talk to them. There's the middle school, the high school, and the elementary school, and the recreation department. If you could run trails connecting those things, how amazing would that be? Number one, the safety for the kids would be amazing.
Yes, car traffic would decrease.
Yes. I would ride a lot more.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I would so ride a lot more.
Yeah.
And so I need you to come pitch that to our city council, our mayor, and say, look, this is the reason why and economic development in Bremen too, I'm sure.
People move to Bremen, I hear, for the school systems.
Oh, absolutely.
And
yes,
tuition
ma'am.
in for those.
Exactly.
Well, and that's a large part of it, is getting community leaders on board and understanding the value that trails bring to a community.
The economic development, I think, is going to be the key.
Rockmart is huge. Rockmart has transformed its community. They embrace the Silver Comet Trail. Cedartown has been a little bit slower, but I think they're getting it. And one of my board members, he always says, his joke is, if Rome and Floyd County could be as progressive as Esom Hill. And I don't know if you know anything about Esom Hill, but it's this bootleg moonshine little community in Polk County that was so anti-trail. They didn't want it. They didn't want those funny people on bikes coming through their community, and now they love it.
Okay.
So if you could take a community like Esom Hill that was so anti-trail, and I'm sure not everybody loves it still, but to see that people don't hurt anything, there's very little crime, it's just such
So is that the
an
greatest
asset.
fear? People are afraid that
People
they're-
are afraid of change a little bit, and yes,
Oh, yeah.
people are afraid that it's just going to bring all these vagrant people, but that's not the case.
Yeah, I
at
don't
all.
think, and I don't like the idea of thinking of a family. You know, we were talking about cost and stuff, but really, if you think about how much it costs to go to a movie now for a family of 4,
Oh my gosh.
if you get popcorn, or if you go dinner and a movie, heck, dates can't even do dinner and a
It's-
movie anymore.
Right. It's easily $100.
I mean, so if you think of if you did that 4 times, you bought a bike, a nice bike.
Right. Right. And let's not even talk about the obesity factor.
Right. Oh yeah.
About the fact that kids don't get outside. Kids are stuck to their screens. Kids need safer places to ride. And when you look at property values along the Silver Comet Trail have increased.
Okay.
That's another fact. Houses and developments that are adjacent to trails, their property value goes up.
And I did not realize, I don't know if I can pop this up quick enough since it's set dormant for a moment, how many trails, there's something called TrailLink,
Yes.
TrailLink.com on the internet. And the bike trail, and what I did is I Googled bike trails in Georgia. I did not realize how many bike trails, and the Carrollton Greenbelt is on
Right.
there. I believe Rome Heritage, I think I saw it.
Should be on there.
Yeah, it
Right.
should be on there. East Cobb, East Side, and Covington. Guyton, Rails to Trails.
Okay.
It just says Georgia. I'm not sure exactly where
It's
it
near
is.
Savannah.
Oh, okay. Oh, and to me, Savannah is a beautiful place to just. I'm sorry, my allergies are catching up with me, and dust. Yeah, there's Heritage Park Trail. That's ours,
Yes.
right? That's Rome. Ours. I don't live here, but I feel like I do.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
But you know, I just Google it or go to that Moultrie, Oxford, Phoenix. I mean, there's amazing how many bike trails there are.
Yes, it's true. And so there's also a trail that's here that I want to mention. It's called Jackson Hill Trails. And so for those of you who live in Rome, the Civic Center is up on Jackson Hill Drive. And then there's some trails that are, now these are mountain bike trails. So we've been talking about multi-use paved paths or greenways. But the mountain bike trails, Jackson Hill, it was the site of the old Fort Norton, which is a Civil War earthen fortification. But Sammy Rich, assistant city manager at the time, told Trey, my husband, said, hey, pretend this is your backyard. Let's turn this into Rome Central Park. And so Trey and a few other buddies went with backhoes and bobcats and whatever, and basically built 5 miles of mountain bike trails at Jackson Hill, which are great. And so William Douglas, who was earning his Eagle Scout merit badge at the time, signed those trails. And so there are signs for those trails. So that's a great avenue, great place for people to go in town.
Now, what's the difference between a mountain bike and a multi-use trail?
Mountain bike, gravel, dirt, woods, you make a path. So you
Okay.
really need a mountain bike for those, or walking. But they're great in the city, places for people to go and get out in nature.
Yeah, because I mean, in the way that they've done, I haven't been off through the Heritage one yet, but the way the Greenbelt in Carrollton has been, it does go through some wooded area and habitat. It'll say,
Yes.
you know, be conscious. This is their habitat. This is their home. You know, be very considerate. But it is still the paved trail.
Yes.
And that part I like about being in the wooded area
Yeah.
by the creeks. And I didn't think about the as you said, the non-paved paths.
Right.
And I'm sure our bikes really wouldn't work for that.
Right.
So I didn't even really think about the
Yeah,
differences.
yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about other trails. And you said something about the Cave Springs Trail they are working on it.
We are working on the Cave Spring Trail right now. Trails take a long time. It's probably took 20 years for the Silver Comet Trail, you know, between its inception and when the last piece of concrete was poured. I mean, trails, it's a labor of love. There are so many things that go into creating trails. I would love to tomorrow just say, oh, look, we're starting to build this trail, but you have to think about easements and right-of-way and whose property is it, and engineering, and how are we going to pay for this? And so the sort of industry standard is between $800,000 and $1 million for 1 mile of paved trail.
Wow.
I mean, it's astronomical, really. I mean, and a lot of that can get into engineering. The Rome Heritage Trails didn't cost that much because Public Works did it, so there's a lot of things you could do in-house, you know, depending on where the money's coming from. So it can be really complicated, this business of trail building. But we have a lot of things on our side. We have the Path Foundation, which is the organization out of Atlanta that actually built the Silver Comet Trail.
Okay.
And they're in charge of the Beltline and lots of other trails in Metro Atlanta. And their goal is very similar to ours, is to create more trails. So we also have a landowner in Polk County that has said, I will grant you a mile of my right-of-way along my farm. So Polk County is on board with this. It's 9 miles in Polk County and 2 miles in Floyd County.
Wow. We only have a couple of seconds left for this segment, and when we get back, I want to talk a little bit more, because I think I would like other places to hear and communities to hear how we can really create this system, a new transit system almost.
Yes.
All right, so get your coffee. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for a new pet that your family will cherish every day, consider adopting from a shelter. Shelters are the best places to find a new pet. That's where you'll discover healthy, loyal, and loving animals, eager to become a part of your family. A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet, so bring home your new buddy today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
Welcome back to GHC Coffee Break. Hope you had a chance for your coffee. We're talking about trails, and I've really, like I said, this is a new one for me to really get on trails. I knew when, of course, the Silver Comet Trail, everybody, that was such a big deal.
Right.
Didn't realize it was 20 years into the making, because I don't think it was advertised 20 years ago as much. I mean,
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, so all of a sudden to us, it was like, woo, there's this wonderful trail, which we haven't been on yet. We keep talking about going from, I guess it would be Rockmart to Cedartown, but we're not sure. There's a place to catch it too in Paulding County, I believe.
Yeah, there's several. There's the Hiram, and then the Rambo Nursery is
Yeah.
a good one, and that's relatively flat.
But we were wondering, how far it would be to get from one place to the other. Do we need to plan it as a go there, come back?
Right.
Because a lot of trails I'm finding don't really loop.
No, that's true. You kind of have to do some logistics, some out and backs. But the website for Silver Comet is silvercometga.org, I think. I don't remember if it's Silver Comet Trail GA, but anyway. But that has a map and it has mileage points too.
Oh, okay.
So that's really helpful.
Yeah, thank goodness for the internet, right?
Yes.
And GPS.
True. Yes.
Oh, speaking of GPS, is there GPS or Fitbits that are specifically designed to kind of map or to know how far you've gone with on a bike?
Well, we do have what's called a computer. So it's a smaller computer that might be the size of your watch or a little bit larger, and you can put it on your bike, and then there's a little sensor back here so it can measure cadence, and some of them have GPS, and most of them can do cadence and distance and speed and time and that kind of thing. So yes, absolutely. You could be as technical and nerdy, data driven as you want, and people record. There's a thing called Strava, so it's online, and cyclists are always putting how many miles they've ridden, and it's this like online competition.
Okay. Because I've seen people with like their cell phones attached to their
yes, and you can do that too.
Okay. Wow.
I know.
The trails. So you can kind of look at two different kind of systems: the trail system that's more for the mountain bikes, and the trail system that's more multi-purpose, I guess, or multi-use.
Yes.
Which one probably is the most, like if I really wanted, and I do, really want to go to Bremen City Council and say, look, we need to do this. Other communities are doing it. Carrollton is amazing what they've done.
Yes. I'm really jealous of Carrollton.
Oh, really?
Well, in their funding source, because like I mentioned earlier, how much it costs to build a mile of trail. And so Carrollton is the poster child for how things should work. They got money from the Community Foundation of West Georgia. They hired somebody to do the Carrollton Greenbelt. She was a planner, actually. She was at Shorter, a little bit behind me, Erica Studdard. And she was basically the staff person on the Carrollton Greenbelt for 6 years. And their mantra was 16 miles in 6 years.
Oh, wow.
And they got it done. They had a great group of people working to make that happen. They had real estate agents, they had attorneys to help with the land acquisition. A lot of the, I think, Carrollton or Carroll County Public Works did the paving. I mean, just amazing. I mean,
and it's a beautiful.
It
I don't
is.
know.
It's great.
You said you haven't been out there.
The Georgia Trail Summit was in Carrollton in mid-April, and I wasn't able to get away from the bike shop to go. And I really wish I had, because that's when people. It's in its third year, and the Trail Summit brings people together all across the state to find out what people are doing, to pick brains, to get resources, and so that would have been a great thing. But two of my board members were able to go and hear the success stories of the Carrollton Greenbelt.
Well, it's a great trail. It really is.
Yeah.
That's where because it's close to our house. We kind of just jump in the car and go. We have now a bike rack that we got that stays on one of the cars.
Good.
It carries 2 bikes. Not perfect, but it works. But I think the idea of the trails with family, and I'm wanting my granddaughter and my grandson and the exercise, like you said, getting kids out, because they are so techno savvy, I guess, nowadays, and it's almost scary.
Yeah.
And to get them out as a family, take a picnic, and that's what I keep telling my husband. It seems like every time we go out, we've got something else that we've got to be back for.
Right.
But I would like to just go on the trail and I guess just figure out how many miles out to go, take a picnic, and ride it back.
Right.
And just see how we can do.
And to me, trails are about connection, and it's the literal connection, like you were mentioning, Bremen, connecting those points, which is what Carrollton's done. Carrollton has connected West Georgia to the schools, to neighborhoods. So it's about connecting places, but it's also about connecting people.
Yes.
Because we're such a society that looks at screens and we don't know our neighbors anymore. And so you make those connections on the trail. It's hard to be in a bad mood when you're on a bicycle. It's hard to be in a bad mood when you're on a trail.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's beautiful.
Those endorphins are going. You're outside. You're in nature. It's free.
Vitamin D.
Yeah. You pay money to go sit at a baseball game, but look at these free amenities that these trails have. And very few communities end up having to raise having to use money for trails. Now, to be fair, one of our success stories with TREAD was the City of Rome asked us to submit a SPLOST application. So SPLOST, Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, that we had in 2013, which is a penny sales tax extra, that when we go to different communities, we pay their extra penny. So we also want people to pay ours. And so but we were able to put 2 potential trails on the SPLOST application, and they were accepted. So at some point in the near future, Berry College will be connected to the Heritage Trails, and then West Rome will be connected as well.
Wow. And do you think more people, I kind of look at it as a new transportation network almost.
It's true.
We talk about the price of gas. We talk about the emissions that are coming out from cars. Yes, the economic development. Getting families back together, because I think that's one of the things that our communities all over the nation have forgotten about is, to sit down, get on a bike, take a trail, enjoy each other.
See new things, be a tourist in your own community, which is something that Rome promotes all the time. And one of the things we're talking about with the Cave Spring Trail is it's not a pretty part in American history, but that route is also part of the Trail of Tears route. So let's educate people on that. When you're on the Heritage Trails, you pass by the Chieftains Museum. Well, who was John Ridge, and why was Ridge Ferry Park named Ridge? And you can talk about those things. Kingfisher Trail was named because years ago there was an Indian, and I don't remember this history, but I love local history, and I don't expect people to love it like I do, but I think there are those things that you can learn about when you're on trails, and I think people forget about these things. Legs, they can also be used for transportation. So when the snow came 2 years ago, snowpocalypse, remember? And I was at the bike shop downtown, and it starts snowing and traffic is at a standstill in downtown Rome and of course all over metro Atlanta, as you know.
Oh yeah.
And I thought, I'm not riding home. I'm not driving home. And so I walked. So we live in College Heights, right near Shorter College. And so I was able to use the trails to walk home. It took me 30 minutes in snow, whereas it would have taken me hours, and I'm passing cars that are not moving on 2nd Avenue and on Turner McCall. And I think we're so car dependent, and I'm guilty of it.
Oh, sure.
Just as well, but I think getting outside and lessening emissions and lessening your footprint, just to be a good steward, I think. And I think trails really encapsulate all of those things.
Matt, we only have a few more minutes, but I hear your passion. I mean, you've taught me a lot today, and you're actually making me even feel more passionate. I kind of take a project and I just go, wow, I want to know everything I can about it. But how did you get into this?
Well, TREAD started because the Floyd County Commission, so there was a federal grant money to lengthen the heritage trails 1.5 miles. And so basically the end of Avenue A, and it would connect Somerville Park neighborhood, which Somerville Park neighborhood is the historic neighborhood that was founded in 1913 off Highway 27, Martha Berry. So it would connect Somerville Park to the downtown heritage trail systems. And so it was a matching grant. It was an 80-20 matching grant coming from the feds down through GDOT, Department of Transportation. And at the time, the Floyd County government said, no, we don't have the funding to do that. We don't want to do that. Well, people got wind of that and said, you know, your match is only 20% of this $450,000 grant. We can help you raise that. So TREAD raised $40,000. The city put in, this is where we get back to the city being supportive of trails. The city put in $23,500, so the county only had to put in, you know, a little portion of it. And so that's kind of the impetus of TREAD.
But I'm talking about, I'm going to get personal.
Well, that was really kind of it, because Trey, my husband, came home and he said, you know, we think that you need to be the president of trails. And like I said, I had always ridden the trails with my boys, and I loved it. And I just had always seen the value in trails, and so that was kind of how I came into it.
You make me even more passionate about wanting to know more about the trails and doing more with trails. I mean, I'm like, okay, how do I get interested? How do you get involved with TREAD? This is so cool.
Yeah.
So you're making me more excited,
good.
I think that our audience, if they can't catch our excitement, then there's something wrong.
Well, and so if they want to learn more about TREAD, we have, so this is our little logo, and then we also have a website. It's treadromefloyd.org.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Unfortunately, we have to take a break. Get your coffee. We'll be right back with GHC Coffee Break.
My college offers classes that meet my educational and career goals.
With opportunities outside of the classroom,
where the faculty know me by name.
My college can prepare me for my career.
I can earn an associate's degree and transfer credits to a bachelor's.
My college is a state college within the university system of Georgia.
My college offers courses that fit my schedule.
It's where excellence begins.
we are.
We are.
We are.
We are GHC, Georgia Highlands College.
Welcome back to GHC Coffee Break. I hate to wind up the show. It's really been an exciting show to me. You've got me even more passionate about TREAD, trails in general, and I'm sure that your passion is also contagious to those out there. I'm going to ask you to do something.
Okay.
So get ready.
All right.
I'm going to ask you to, as we leave, name all of the Georgia bike trails you can think of.
All right, are you ready?
We're ready.
All right, obviously the Silver Comet 63-mile rail trail that goes from Atlanta to the Alabama line, and then it hooks up with the Chief Ladiga Trail in Alabama. Also the Heritage Trail Network in Rome, Georgia. There's a new trail that's being formed and thought about called the Million Mile, or the Gold Belt Trail that traces the route of gold mining in Georgia. That's kind of exciting. The Beltline in Atlanta. The Jimmy Carter Presidential Pathway, the Freedom Trail that goes from East Atlanta into Atlanta, Macon-Ocmulgee Trail. There are blue trails. We didn't talk about blue trails. And a blue trail, Susan, are river trails. So the Heritage, the Etowah River is a blue trail. So people can also take rivers for their connections.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, until next time, get your GHC Until next time on GHC Coffee Break, get your coffee. Have a great day.